on this computer. All right, recording in progress. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first edition, episode 1 of the Brazos podcast. Brazos podcast. Is that a slang? Is that an offensive term? Allegedly it is. We don't give a shit. What's the point of this thing? Well, as you may have noticed or not, I am Brazilian. My friend here on the other side, Luis Coruja, aka the Owl. We're both Brazilians. We both love surfing. He's a great surfer. I'm a great surfing fan. And we just want to talk about surfing and board sports in general. And we want to give the Brazos perspective. We thought the surfing community and the board sports community in the world, there's a language barrier between us and you guys because of the language, right? So luckily we both speak English. Obviously our English is not perfect, but we hope that you can understand it. And with that, we're just gonna talk about surfing, what's going on, about our perspective. We want you guys to know where we're coming from with our ideas and hear from you and have a conversation and kind of jump that gap a little bit. So a little quick introduction about myself. My name is Ran. I was born and raised in Brazil, the same city as our friend the Owl in Curitiba, Paraná. I've been living in the US for 12 years, 13 years. I lived all over. I lived in San Diego, I lived in Chicago. I'm currently living in San Francisco, but I'm currently in Utah for the winter. So I'm all over. I've been surfing on and off since I was like 12-ish. And since I moved back to California, I'm back in surfing full time. That's been going on since 2016, but I've been following surfing media and everything else since forever. So huge surfing fan. I love everything about it. I love boards. I love watching the contests. I love following Brazilian surfers, international surfers, and so on. But now I talk too much. It's a problem. I want to pass the ball to my friend Coruja the Owl. Coruja, please tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your history with surfing? Where are you in the world? Where are you, man? Tell them.
I am in south of Brazil, a city called Itajaí in Santa Catarina, where we have this kind of dark green barrels, as you can see on the background.
Have heavy barrels.
Yeah, it depends on the day. Not really heavy, but they're fun. And I apologize because of my rusty English, but I think practicing with Ran here and talking to you guys gonna help me to get it on track again. So man, I started surfing at the age of I think was 14, and living in a city without waves or I had to travel like hour and a half to reach the closest beach in Paraná. That distance from the beach, it helped me to be a guy that is always keen to surf, because we had to wait months, sometimes weeks to go to the beach and surf, especially when we were young, and you know that because you used to live there. So
I was hustling.
living in Curitiba was hard to be a surfer living there, but it kind of light this fire for surf, like any conditions, any conditions. We're like, yeah, let's go out, let's pedal out. And now I'm finally living like 5 minutes from these waves that you can see there, and it's a place that I come here since I think I'm 2 or 3 years old because my grandma is from here. So I love this place, and I've been uh, all over the world to surf, 30 countries. Used to live in Australia and Margaret River. Uh, been to the Gold Coast, Sydney, a couple of times in Indonesia for sure, because that's the best place. And also, I used to live in California in San Clemente, and it has always been about surfing. These trips that I've done by myself, sometimes, most of the times, it was always about surfing. So that's what moves
Yeah,
me, and that's why we're here.
Yeah, and just so everyone knows, Vial also used to be a referee, so he has the perspective of judgment. He's been involved in the industry, helped training athletes, and so on. So that's really cool. Like he's with the Groms in Brazil and the whole like organization there, and knows a lot of pros that came from southern Brazil and has a great connection with those guys. So it's really cool to have him here and all his expertise. And like I was saying, like our goal is to just talk about surfing. And I think right now what's going on, the big news this week about surfing, and it's mind blowing, got me thinking about a lot of things, is the news that Gabriel Medina is withdrawing from the Five Masters and I think from Sunset as well. Um, I think it's the first two events or more. That was a big shock for me. At the same time, like with all that was going on with his personal life back last year, it's not too shocking. But I just want to hear your first impressions about the news, Biao, and like how did you take it? Like, were you surprised? Were you shocked? Were you bummed out? Please let us know. What are your initial thoughts on it?
Yeah, actually, I was expecting something like that. We know people that are close friends to Gabriel, and he's been saying that he needed a break. It was too much for him the last 18 months, let's say. Personal life was heavy, and I think especially because now he's a pop star in Brazil. Not now, for years already,
Yeah,
but he's one of the biggest names in Brazil. Talking about sports personality, and actually he's too big. He cannot just leave his house and go to the bakery because he's going to be surrounded by people asking for photos and autographs and things like that. So he doesn't have a normal life. That's the
right.
truth. People may not know about that outside of Brazil. And also, after he got engaged and got married, too many people talking about his personal life and about his wife. And then he had this big problem with his mom and stepdad. And actually, there were things that they were things about money and millions
Yeah,
of
there's
reais
even,
or dollars.
yeah, I think even court, there were court cases,
Yeah,
right? They had to go to the
yeah.
courts and like
His mom
with his
sued
mom,
him.
which is pretty heavy. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, she sued
So
him and his wife. So
so
the guy,
what's weird?
yeah,
What's weird for me, Kuruja, and I'm gonna try to call you Diao, but just so you guys know,
it's alright.
if I refer to him as Coruja, because that's Ao in Portuguese, right? So we're just gonna, you guys gonna have to get with the program. He's Coruja Diao. It's just Diao is his last name, and we're gonna go by both. Uh, but like the thing that's surprising for me is that I understand what was going on, right? That all like imagine your mom is suing you. That's insane. And then the relationship with his stepdad, which is also his coach. But I thought this whole thing would happen more. You'll be more prone to it to happen last year, right? Because that's when it was like the middle of it. That was like the huge of it. And it seems like last year he handled it amazingly, right? He did amazing in the contest. He seemed very relaxed when we saw him like competing and off the water. Obviously, we're not there. Obviously, we're not in his mind. Obviously, we're not talking to him or anyone close to him, but that's the impression. And then
Yeah,
after he wins the title, 4 months later, when theoretically he had a break, he had like, I think Tressel's finals was in September, October,
yeah,
something like that.
September.
September, right? And now maybe things sometimes just take time to come to your mental health, right? They take time to affect you, and maybe that's what happened.
Yeah, look, what happened? I think prior to the start of the year of the tour last year was these things about his mom and stepdad. But then I think there was a relief for him actually because the pressure that he used to have at home, having his stepdad as his coach, and thinking only about winning, competing and winning, not having fun, and not living like a normal life for a second. It was just about profession competing. That thing, what happened, I think, let him. be more loose, and free. And then he got this guy, Andy King, who
Right.
I
He
don't
did
know him.
great.
I never, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I've never, I never, I heard about him before, of course, but never had, never saw him working actually.
Yeah.
But with Gabriel,
He was McFanny's
we
coach,
could
right?
see, yeah, but we could see him working with Gabriel, and on the interviews, he was like a guy that we could see that was helping Gabriel
Seriously.
mentally. No, he was not like, oh, you have to do the air this way or do a turn that way, or you need to improve on your barrel skills or things like that. Nothing like that. He was just being a person that was on his side and preparing him mentally, and maybe tactically, or a little bit technically, but most of that he was a coach. He was on his side, just helping him to
Right.
be relaxed and focused. And and I think after the finals that were very stressful for Gabriel, because he was feeling that he could never lose those finals. If he lost, he was gonna be so bummed, because he dominated the tour for the whole year, and then to get there at Trestles and lose the title, that was the biggest dream of his life, getting 3 world titles. That thing was just on his mind all the time. He was just putting so much
It
pressure on
was too
himself.
much. Yeah. It
Yeah,
was too
after that,
much.
he just relaxed. I saw his video the other day. You can see he's not that fit anymore. He has a little belly, not
I
fat
relate to
at
that
all,
one.
but yeah, me too. But I mean, not fat at all, of course.
Yeah,
But
yeah. For a top athlete, he's not at his prime
yeah,
shape. That's what you mean.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. So you can see that he's happy now, living a normal life with his uh, biological daddy.
Yeah.
He started to talk to his biological daddy again, and then they became friends, and he's
I
going to,
know.
and he's living there, making barbecues, living like Brazilian style, and he seems to be really happy now. I mean,
It's a trip. Uh
time for
the,
doing this thing.
yeah. Two situations for me that are interesting for me that like this happened before with Kelly, right? When he dropped off the tour. Obviously, it was a slightly different situation. Like, he won 5 titles. Um, I'm
Six
not,
actually.
I don't remember if it was like something with family, but he was burned out, right? He was burned out. He wanted to take a break. And obviously, Gabriel is a slightly different situation, but this happens. And, Andy had a huge crash after his third title. We all know he
Yeah.
unfortunately never recovered. Uh, the one thing that makes me even more sad about it is the fact that I was hoping that this would be the season that Gabriel would be in top shape and John would be in top shape, right? Because like as a Brazilian, I always thought that the only guy that really like from Brazil that could take Gabriel down, like obviously Idolo did it for 1 year, but like that the surfing like matches would be John, and John seems to be on the rise now, right? We're seeing footage of him. He's surfing as great as ever. Uh, I think he competed a few events ago for. Correct me if I'm wrong. What was the event he compete in? Was the Volcom
He
Pro?
did he did the Qualcomm, he did the shootout,
Yeah,
which is not a competition, but yeah.
yeah, and he was doing great. So I think for the tour, that's a big loss, right? Like, who knows? Like, there's a chance Gabriel may come back for the other remaining events, but you know this better than me. Like, we have 5 events to qualify, and then there's a cut. So if he loses the first two, he had 3 events to make the cut, which for him shouldn't be too hard, but still adds pressure to it.
Yeah, yeah. I think actually I'm pretty sure the World Surf League is gonna give him a wild card, whenever he
Yeah,
wants to come back.
is that
That
how it works? Does it change if he's a world champion or not? Like, how does that
the,
work?
the world champions
Okay.
have like not a free pass, but something like that. And he's a three-time world champion, and he probably talked to them before making his decision, you know. So I'm pretty sure whenever he wants to come back, he has his spot, but uh, his seating is gonna be low. He needs to know that, you know, he's not gonna
Which
come
would be
back.
interesting. Can you imagine
Yeah,
first round? Can you imagine first
John
round
John
like Gabriel and John John,
below.
Gabriel and Idolo? That would be
Yeah,
insane.
that will happen, and I I think he's not gonna compete the first five events. That's what I'm feeling. You know, if he
Wow.
wants to come back at G Land, for example, you know, it's a left, good barrels, Indonesia. I
Yeah.
think he can make it. And then, of course, with five events, I'm pretty sure he's gonna make the cut at the end of the year. But
Yeah.
it's
I'm
something.
not worried about like him eventually dropping to the QS or anything, but more like, I don't think that would be the case, but more like, yeah, I have no ideas how the politics it changes. Like with the WSL changing the format every year, it gets so confusing. I get lost in it sometimes, so it's
Yeah, me
cool.
too.
I love your
I put
tie.
this here. Yeah, I put it here too.
And yeah, so it's crazy. But yeah, I mean, there's anything you want to add about the Gabriel situation? I think we said a lot. I'm super bummed. I think for Brazil, it's a huge loss because uh, even
Yeah,
though we have other, even though we have other names, he's our main title contender every year, right? Like,
yeah,
there's nothing.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, just to add something, you talked about John John and Gabriel and this rivalry. If you like remember, John John won 16 and 17, you know,
right.
and Gabriel was on tour and was fighting for the title. Some people said that it was not really fair judging and things like that, but that's not
Yeah.
the point.
Classic complaints. Yeah.
I would never like
No.
touch that
John
point. You
John
know,
can be a
he
serve
deserved
champion with,
those
yeah.
titles. He
Yeah.
deserved
He
those
doesn't need
titles.
any help.
Yeah, like if he lost, in my opinion, he lost the heat to Ita Ewing at Pipeline, in my opinion. But he deserved
No,
those titles.
I agree with you. I
So
also think like that's one of the big things about I don't know if you can say that Gabriel won a title with John John at his prime
and
without
that,
an
yeah,
injury, right?
hmm
I don't remember.
yeah. But that's what I was gonna touch this point because last year John John was not competing, uh, and then in actually he did compete for like three events and he still finished top
Right.
20, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
20. No, 12, top 12. So, you know, the guy was
It's a
he was
freak.
dominating.
Yeah.
And then the other two titles, Gabriel titles, I think John John was not injured in one, but not surfing his best, and the other one he was injured. So uh, maybe this year would be the year that we could see both guys just surfing their best and see the difference between them on different waves because I think we you cannot compare John John and Gabriel in a wave like Sunset like or the main break at Margaret River. John John is the best ever surfing on rail on those big like
Yeah.
mirrored faces.
For sure.
But then if you put them at Pipeline and Backdoor, they had the final last year and they're the best guys there with Cali, of course. And then if you think about Indonesia, G-Land, man, there would be a great battle between them in a wave like that. But then, uh, where I wanna go, lower thresholds, and we're gonna talk about that in a few minutes. But I can imagine those guys battling at that kind of mushy or soft wave of lower thresholds.
Or high performance. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Gabriel is way better than John John on that wave. Sorry,
Yeah.
but it's my opinion because John John doesn't have the greatest backhand surfing on the he's not the
R-
best, you know.
I agree,
Surfing,
and it's
doing turns for a lap, he's not the best.
and it's
And on his forehand, if it's 5 to 8 foot faces, maybe he could have great performances and doing airs and turns. But still, I think Gabriel is better both sides, left and
yeah,
right at trestles. So that would be interesting, and that is still it's gonna be interesting this year. And then we're gonna talk about the tour, and that's with you.
yeah. No, yeah, for sure. And to say that, I think the classic argument, right, is that Gabriel's the best competitor, but John is the best surfer, right? That's always been the case, like conditions permitting and so on, which is all very arguable. I'm not claiming that that's the case at all. But yeah, I mean, I think the world of surfing is still waiting for those two at prime shape, prime time, battling out like Indy and Kelly did, and so many others. All right, saying that, like maybe we should move on to the next topic. I mean, is right now because of Gabriel out, uh, is this Pipeline Masters John Johns to lose, and this two Hawaiian events are those John Johns to lose, or from the Brazilian side or any other competitor's side, who could take him down there? I honestly cannot imagine. I mean, obviously Felipe and Idolo have that potential, but in my opinion, John is the ultimate favorite. And if he's at his best on his best day and the waves are pumping, I cannot see him losing. I would love to hear from you.
Same thing, man. Of course, surfing is a sport
Subjective.
that's not,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not only about performance. You have to be connected to the ocean, and John, you can see how connected he is at Pipeline and Sunset, especially Pipeline and Backdoor. And he knows that way better than anyone on tour. And maybe I can see him losing to Cali. I can see him losing to maybe a local wild card, maybe his brother. But just because those guys are really good on that wave, and then he can lose. Sometimes he will catch a wave and something is gonna happen. He can
Something
break
can,
a
yeah,
board. He can
totally.
lose time,
He's not
and
unbeatable.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's not unbeatable. But as you said, normal conditions, I think he's like 90% favorite on both waves. Sunset maybe not as favorite as at Pipeline and Backdoor because it's a really hard wave to surf and to read, and you can get caught inside and lose time and things like
Yeah.
that. And then you can face guys like Jordy Smith or Zeke Law, for example, that
Yeah. It's true.
like Zeke Law can get into John's mind. We saw that at Bells Beach a couple years ago. So he's not unbeatable, but uh, still, I think he's gonna leave Hawaii with a very meaty leading on the race.
Yeah.
Like
The,
gonna
the
be the
the only
first.
the only thing that I would add to that is that like I actually see him more as a favorite in Sunset, and this is why. Because, for example, like we have seen, I mean, Idolo is a pipe master. He won the final against Gabriel, which like all stakes. So like if he's on, he could do it again.
Yeah,
Um,
the
and
only
I don't
Brazilian
see,
maybe.
yeah, maybe the only Brazilian, but I don't see, and for example, him being able to beat John Sunset.
No.
Could he? Could. I
Mm.
mean, maybe. But it's like at Pipeline, I see he has a bigger, better chance. And
Yeah,
maybe it's maybe at
that's certain.
Sunset, yeah, maybe at Sunset, a guy like Felipe could do a little better. It's hard, right? Like theoretically, they all could
Yeah,
win. They're all fantastic surfers. I mean, I hope they win as a Brazilian. I want them to win. Obviously, I'm a huge John fan. I think everybody who loves surfing is a John fan, but it's going to be interesting.
yeah. One other thing, as you said, it made me think about something. I was talking to my friend Tiago, TBS Shaper, and we were talking about this. Um, Gabriel and John, they use surfboards with more volume that they should use for the weight. And like especially John, he's really good surfing with bigger boards. If you see him surfing with a 6.6 at Margaret River or 6.2, uh, it's impressive, you know. Most of the guys use like 5.8s, 5.9s, 5.11s.
Oh, he's taller than most guys too, right? So
Yeah,
I'm
he's
sure that
taller.
helps him.
He has longer legs, but the way he moves uh, those the ghost surfboards from John Faisal,
Amazing.
it,
Yeah.
it's second to none because I had a board, one of those boards, and I used that board in Indonesia, and I could feel like it's a hard board to turn, you know. Obviously, I'm not comparing my surfing with John, but I mean,
I think you're
it,
better.
I understand a lot about surfboards, and that board I would never have one of those again because it's too much for my surfing, you know, for my ability. I need boards that turn easier, and the way he pushes the fins and does
Drives
those
it.
like 6 seconds of driving from the bottom all the way to the top, and then all the way back to the
It's
bottom with
beautiful.
one move. It's like it's,
There's nothing
man.
like it. Yeah.
No, I actually I never seen things like that. You know,
Yeah.
all time.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting to see. We for sure will be covering it. We'll be talking about it here on the podcast. Uh, all right. So like, yeah, we set the scenario for Hawaii. Now, I want to talk a little bit about 2022 in general. A lot of young, new faces in the tour. I would love to hear your highlights. I want to start talking a little bit maybe about the Brazilians, but obviously we can jump into the rest, obviously of the other rookies on the tour. Um, my biggest take, I guess, the way I would see the tour now with Gabriel being a huge question mark. I mean, I will copy my opinion from the Hawaii leg. I think is John to lose, especially if Gabriel is out. But
Yeah.
that's saying we saw Felipe on a rise last year, and that rise
Mhm.
could still be happening. He could still be popping. And Idolo is a fighter, and if those, and especially if we have an event just like we did last year, I don't know if it's going to be in Trestles this year. Did they confirm if the final is going to be in Trestles again?
Yeah. They actually uh they canceled the Trestles event, regular event that they had planned through like those 10 events,
Right.
and they replaced that event with El Salvador, Surf
Okay.
City, with presented by Corona,
Dope.
and they put Trestles as the finals again.
Right.
So
That's
uh,
amazing. Okay, so that's good news for the Brazilians, right? Because on that way, you can see the odds of Felipe and Italy winning are much greater. I mean, they have
yeah,
a way better chance. So theoretically, it's going to be very interesting, right? Because you can have those guys showing up to spot to one of the five spots or whatever, and they have
mhm.
a fair shot against John. I mean, we've seen John doing great at trusses. We've seen him doing not so great. So anything can happen. Obviously, if it's going to be a final, he's going to be all tuned in and fired up. But yeah, very excited. As for the Brazilians, new faces, João Shanka, incredible. I'm a little sad that Mateus didn't make it because I thought he could be a great addition to the team,
Yeah,
to the Storm this year. I mean, I think it's a matter of time. And once he comes, he's gonna make an impact because the boy is insane. What he did last year, it was insane. But I'm also excited for Samuel Pupo. It's super cool to see him with Miguel. I'm excited. I thought both Miguel uh, did a final run of last year pretty good. I mean, I'm excited for all those guys, but we got Ezekiel coming up. Uh, I I am super curious to see what's going to happen. But like, what's your take? What's your highlights? Who are you looking forward to see? Who do you think can make an impact? And we didn't even touch on the Australians, so please let me know what are your thoughts.
yeah, man. This rookie class, like it's the biggest renovation we have, I think, in history of surfing. I think last year was just two guys, two new guys, and now we have like 10 new guys. And with this injuries and these withdrawings, we have some like people that had their chances on tour last year, and they've got their spot for this event and maybe for Sunset. The likes of Matthew McGillivray and Kyle Daly, for example, they got invited for this event. But
Interesting.
talking about and Kyle Daly is really good barrel rider. You know, he can make it.
Yeah, I was surprised that he didn't do well on the qualifying
Yeah,
events.
man. Yeah, me too.
It's
Me
crazy.
too. He's too good to be on the QS. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, for this rookie class, I really like João Chianca. He's a really complete surfer. He's insane on the barrels. He's very um, good competitor. He's intelligent and he doesn't fear big names. You know, he's a guy that he doesn't fear big names, and you can see him getting great waves at pipe and backdoor and surfing his best at sunset. And for the Brazilians, I think it's going to be the biggest surprise for the year. That's my point. You know, that's my opinion. I think he's really good. If he focus and has a good mindset for the whole tour, I think he can do some damage. And I really like the surfing of the Peruvian Luca Messinas. This guy, for
Yes.
me, he's a great surfer. I think he's the best surfing from Peru. We can see Miguel Tudela on this event and maybe Sunset as well, but not uh, on the whole tour. But Luca Messinas, this guy, he can make some damage, you know.
He's the real
And
deal.
yeah, but I mean, for all the guys, all the new guys, all the new names, my biggest expectation for the year is the Hawaiian Imai Kalani Devol. I think this guy, man, he surfs big. His surfing is big. You know, he has huge turns on his forehand. He's a great barrel rider. He has power. He has airs, and uh, yeah, especially Imai Kalani. For me, he's going to be the best. He's going to be the rookie of the year.
Right. And the one thing that you mentioned too that we didn't bring it up, it's well, if you get the two first events in Hawaii and we got those Hawaiian rookies, you know, they know the wave, they know that power, they know they're used to the scene. That could be a huge boost for them for the rest of the tour. You know,
Oh
if they
yeah.
get good results and you get that confidence going and you can roll into the next events, that's insane. It's going to be interesting to see the girls too. You know, we didn't even touch on them.
No, we're gonna touch that, but yeah, especially with the cut. If you imagine that there are five events and then you have a cut, so starting in Hawaii, it's a great advantage for the likes of Michael and Devault, for example. And you mentioned that the Australians, we have Jackson Baker as a rookie. For me, he was a surprise. You know, not because I don't like his surfing or something like that. It's because uh, I thought other names could make the tour, but not Jackson Baker. He has been fighting for his qualifying spot since I think 2008 or something like that. And I feel happy for him, you know, to finally
Totally.
reach his dream.
We
And
forget
he's
how much of
really,
an achievement that is. Just qualifying.
yeah,
It's huge.
yeah.
It's so
And
hard.
especially last year with the pandemics and things like that. But this guy is funny, you know. If you follow him on Instagram, he's a funny character. He seems to be uh, having a good time all the time. So I'm happy for him, and especially for Carlos Munoz. You know, this guy, man, he's a friend of everyone. He's like the pura vida from Costa Rica, and he has the spirit of surfing, in my opinion. He's always like uh, happy and having having fun more than Jackson Baker, more than anyone. He
That's the best surfer in the water,
reminds me,
allegedly. Yeah.
yeah, he reminds me of Jadson, for example. He's always stoked and keen be in the water, to compete, to do the best he can. All the time he's like very focused and you know bringing the best. We saw him surfing at Trestles a couple years ago, and he made a big damage on those on that event. I think he finished fifth, but I'm happy for him. I don't think he's gonna make the
The
tour for
cut.
more than this year. I think he can make
Yeah.
the cut maybe, but I don't think it's gonna last like more than half or 1 year. But
Yep.
still, he deserves a lot, man. This guy is
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to see him. I don't know much about him, but it's cool that you give that highlight. I'll definitely pay attention to it. And then also, like, we got the veterans too, right? We got Jordy and Owen, and
yeah,
we cannot forget those guys. I mean, it's likely that one of them could be in the top five. So, and especially Jordy, right? So it's like, who knows how he's going to be shape wise coming back from injury, but he's probably starving and hungry. Missing the
yeah.
Olympics, I know it was a big thing and he had to miss it. So it's whew, I'm pumped. I'm pumped.
And have you seen the first heat of the Pipe Masters
Please
after Gabriel Medina
withdraw.
uh, yeah withdraw? They had to change all the heats, because of Gabriel was the first seeding, so they had to reorganize everything. And now the first heat is Jordy Smith, Zeke Lau, and Owen Wright.
Nice. I'll
It's
try
a
to not
really
miss that
heavy.
one.
Yeah, that's a heavy heat, man.
Ah,
And Owen, he was out of the tour actually. He got kicked out last year, and now he has a spot again because of Gabriel withdrawing, and I think uh, who else? I think I know those guys that
yeah,
uh,
I remember there was something. Didn't he get a wild card of sorts?
yeah he got a wild card. Yeah, he got a wild
Yeah,
card.
yeah. I mean, he's he's. We all know how good he can be. It's a matter of like if he's
Yeah,
in a good year, it's gonna be. Let's touch real quick on the girls before we let go.
sure, yeah,
Some new faces there too. I mean, I'm going with the classics here. I think it's Carissa. I'm excited for Tati. I think she represents it super well. Uh, I love Stephanie. She's always been my favorite female surfer. She'll always be,
yeah.
to me, one of the best styles ever, men or women. So yeah, what are your highlights on the girls? What are you excited to see there?
Man, actually, Carissa is my favorite, my all-time favorite female surfer. I think she
Interesting.
like not only about the surfing, but her personality and uh, like she's so humble and she seems to have so much fun doing
She
that.
carries the aloha with her. It's part of
Yeah,
her
yeah,
spirit. Yeah,
totally,
totally.
totally, yeah, yeah,
She's sick. Yeah.
yeah. And of course, I like to watch Tati. She's like she's surfing her best, and last year
She
won a
has that
season.
fight. Yeah, she has that fight
Yeah,
in
the
her.
Margaret River was amazing on the backhand. And if anyone had the opportunity to surf the main break at Margaret River, that right hander there, at the end section over the ledge, rocky ledge, man, it's really heavy, and she did big turns. So all respect. And about the girls that are coming to the tour this year, I honestly don't know much about them.
Yeah.
They're so young. They came from like nowhere for my knowledge.
Yeah, we're
I was
seeing
like,
generation flip with the girls and the way the
totally,
surfing.
man,
Yeah, it's like
totally.
I think we're gonna see the progression with the girls side, like we saw early 2000s with the mans, like a lot more
Yeah,
airs, a lot more of that going on. So I'm excited. Like I was watching Stab High. I don't know if you
yeah.
watched it, the one they did. I think it was Costa Rica or Panama.
Hmm.
And that girl, Erin Brooks, is that her name? And she's like
Yeah,
13, 14. Oh my God, she's gonna be a world title contender in a few years easily. I mean, she's insane.
yeah.
Yeah,
She's
once she
insane.
gets to the tour, she's gonna be a ripper. So and obviously maybe one day we'll get Sophia as well. And there's a whole new generation coming up that it's wicked. It's so insane. So excited for that.
Yeah, yeah. If you see like Badalo Sakura Johnson, the Hawaiian. She's 15 years old.
Jesus
15 years
Christ.
old, man. I judge. I still do judging, surfing judging here, and I have this. I work a tour, that a local tour for young people here, and it's called Surf Surf Futuro, so Surf
Yeah.
Future, and it's for young surfers, 12, 14, and 16 years old, and they're great girls surfing on the under 16, but like there's a person there that's under 16 already on the world tour. Like it's really hard to
It's
believe.
mind blowing. Yeah.
It's mind
And
blowing,
I
and
see,
I'm like,
yeah. And it's
what's
funny.
that?
I wonder, I wonder if part of that too, it's like we've seen it with Caroline Marks. I think she started when she was 16 too. You see, that's
16, yeah.
fairly, yeah, it happens in the men's tour. I mean, I think Aki won pipe when he was like 17 or 18 or something. It was something crazy. But it's way more often with the girls, and it could be one of those things that girls mature earlier, but it's pretty
Maybe.
incredible. It's pretty incredible to watch. It's when you see someone like when they're 15 and you think about what you were doing when you're 15. I
Yeah,
was like,
that's
I
it.
was like barely learning how to play the guitar, and it's like not thinking about anything serious at all in my life. So it's wow, it's mind blowing. But
Yeah, it's mind blowing, man. And she charges, she gets big waves in Hawaii with this age,
that's the beauty
and
of
then you have,
Hawaii. Yeah,
yeah,
you're gonna get those.
and that's the same with Luana Silva, the Brazilian Hawaiian.
I
She,
know. I was so sad that she's competing for Hawaii, but I get it. I don't
yeah,
judge her for it.
no,
Yeah,
it's the same with Tati competing for Brazil. Like she was only
yeah,
born in Brazil. She's totally Hawaiian, but we know she has her reasons
yeah.
to be competing for Brazil, and that's all right.
And I don't blame her. I don't blame her for that either. Like, I mean, I would
No,
do the same. Yeah, I would do the same.
no,
Like it's, and who knows, maybe that will change too for her. But
yeah.
yeah,
And then
time
you
will
have
tell.
Gabriella Bryant from Hawaii as well, and I have India Robinson from Australia, and then you had the lucky Molly Picklum. She got the last spot after I don't even remember the name of the girl that she uh, just how can I say, didn't accept her spot. She said, no, I need to finish my studies and I will be back. And then she just withdrew from the whole tour this year because she's too young, same as Taj Burrow did
Yeah,
back in '97
and
when he
didn't
won
Taj on it.
17.
Yeah, and didn't Taj on his first year on the tour. Like I remember he qualified and he was like, "No, I'm waiting another
Same,
year." And didn't on his first year finish like top three or something. It was something
I
like,
think so, yeah.
yeah,
Or
it was
top
something like
five,
crazy.
but
Yeah, it was
but
something.
Taj,
Well,
yeah, Taj was he was a phenomenon. Everyone that
forever, forever, forever our favorite for sure. I mean, I was
yeah,
watching his stab in the dark and it's like so refreshing. I love it. I love it so much. All right,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
I think that was awesome for today. I think we covered a lot of ground. Once the competition came starts, we try to do little drops. We're definitely going to do a more substantial, you know, episode after each event.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
yeah, thank you so much, man. And I really appreciate it. I'm excited to be doing this with you all year and for many years, hopefully. And
Yeah, let's do it.
yeah, any parting thoughts, any salutes or anything you want to highlight before we
Yeah,
go?
I just want to thank you for this initiative that you had, and thanks for the headphones. They're really good. And thanks for your idea and your energy. You had been so amazing last year with us, with me and Rodrigo doing the lives on Instagram. You had been there
It's
like
so much fun.
every day for hours, supporting us, and it's sometimes we need someone to push us to do things, and that you're the one doing that with me now.
Hey man,
So
I'll
I
do
just want to thank you.
yeah, I'll do anything so I can skip working or doing laundry or anything that will keep me from real life. It's more fun. So Thank
Oh,
you.
yeah, sure.
I'm the one who's think. Awesome, man. Well, I'm gonna stop the recording. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you again
Thank you.
very soon.
Yes. You guys.
Where is the recording?